Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be doing an impromptu video. I was actually quite shocked to receive this PR package yesterday, and I thought you guys would really want to review. I haven't seen any thus far on YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and be reviewing the new Jaclyn Cosmetics Prep and Set collection. I was truly shocked to get this on my front porch. My husband grabbed the package, and I always yell when I'm upstairs, like, who's it from? Because, you know, I buy stuff, I'm waiting on PR to review, and he said Jaclyn Cosmetics, and I truly was like, no way. I've actually purchased from every one of her launches, but I've never received PR. So truly I was surprised to get this, but obviously excited to try it out. So this is her newest collection. It's basically a collection of powders. There's a pressed translucent, there's loose baking powders, and then there's palettes with 4 powders that are pressed in a pan to brighten the under eye, set your concealer, bake your face, and then there is an under eye brightener, which is why I don't have foundation on, because we're gonna test that out before I use my concealer. So today I'm gonna give you my first impression and demo. We're gonna try all these products on. I will give you close-up shots of every colorway, talk about the price, the packaging, the performance. So if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe. I will leave all the information down below in terms of when you can pick up these products, and let's go ahead and begin. So let's start off with the PR package and the products in this collection. So you can see here we have 5 loose powders, 1 translucent powder, and 1 under eye primer. And the second layer of the PR package has the 4-pan brightening and setting palettes. So now let's go through each of the products. I'll tell you the price and the claims. The first product is the Prep Starter Hydrating Under Eye Primer. This will retail for $24. It says prep and hydrate the delicate under eye area with the Skin Perfecting Priming Serum. Silky texture with rich shea butter, delivers soft focus, blurring finish, cooling metal tip applicator. Next up is the Bake and Brighten Under Eye Powder. This retails for $29. There are 5 different shades for a range of skin tones. It says bake and brighten the delicate under eye area with this color neutralizing powder. Sets concealer for a flawless finish infused with shea butter and banana flour. We also have the Face It All Brightening and Setting Palette, $39, 4 different colorways. It says brighten, set your complexion with 4 shades infused with smoothing banana flour powder. Silky soft pressed powder, sets and perfects for a blurred finish. And then lastly, the Last Act Translucent Setting Powder. This retails for $29. There is a universal translucent shade, so only 1 shade in this. Set your complexion with a silky flawless finish worthy of a standing ovation. A super fine pressed powder sets makeup without lifting foundation. Now that's going to be interesting because that can definitely be an issue, so I'm excited to test that claim. So all of these products will be listed down below with the prices in case you missed it. They will be available May 6th on her website. No word if they're coming to Ulta yet, but let's go ahead and zoom in. We're going to jump in and look at the packaging, look at the textures, and start applying to the face. I've got you guys zoomed in. We're going to start off with the Hydrating Under Eye Primer. This is why I don't have foundation on, because this is supposed to go on before your concealer. Now, of course, you could do your foundation and then just not put any around here and apply this, but for me, it's just easier. I like to do it this way. So it does have a cooling metal tip, which is something that Jaclyn did mention. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze some out. It does have a light, I thought it was going to be clear. It does buff out to clear, but it does have a white sort of moisturizer look when you put it on your hand, and then it does go to a clear. So I'm excited to give this a try. I was going to put it on my finger, but I guess the whole point is to have the tip. I don't know if I would use the tip, like it feels nice. I'm not sure if I would use the tip. Actually, I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't use the tip to rub it in, but I have to say it does feel nice and cooling on the under eye. I mean, it's something that you could do if you have puffiness. You could kind of rub it back and forth just to depuff and sort of cool the under eye, but I'm going to use my fingers here. I don't notice a scent, which is nice. I'm curious to see how this will play under concealer. Has a nice hydrating feel. It's not quite a gel texture. It's a little more hydrating than that. But it's not as thick as an eye cream either. It's sort of in the middle. It's not stinging, not burning, not irritating. So far so good. I'm curious to see if I will notice a difference in terms of the way that my concealer sits on top of it. But so far it just feels like a really nice hydrating base. Of course you could use eye cream, you could use moisturizer, whatever you want. But Jaclyn swears by this, so we'll see what we think. So I went ahead and applied my foundation off camera. I will link it down below. But I thought we would do my concealer maybe on camera and see if I notice a difference in terms of how it blends. I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Born This Way Brighten Porcelain. And I wanna see if I'm gonna notice anything in terms of like looking smoother or just my concealer blending better. I think it'll be a little bit difficult for me to tell on first impression with the under eye hydrator, just because it might be something that I need to test over multiple days, different concealers, and see if I really notice a difference. So this is what my skin is looking like after blending out the concealer. I feel like it looks nice and smooth. It blended beautifully. There was no lifting, no patching, so it's definitely not disrupting the concealer. In terms of seeing a difference, it's sort of hard for me to tell. I feel like maybe my under eyes look a tad more moisturized, but I think this is one of those products I'm gonna have to keep using, as I said, with different foundations, different concealers, different primers, and really see if I'm noticing that hydration over time. So we'll keep trying that out, but I'm really excited to get in now to setting these products. So in her video to set the under eye, she actually used the palette with 4 shades in here. This is called the Face It All Brightening and Setting Palette. So you have 4 different pressed powders in here. I believe this is the light to medium colorway, but I will say, I cannot seem to find that anywhere. When I'm looking on the packaging, there's 4 colorways. There's fair to light, light to medium, medium to tan, and tan to deep. I believe this is light to medium, so the second lightest one, and I think that's what's gonna work for me, but I'm looking and I don't know if I'm missing it, but I'm not seeing the actual shade name on the back of this. So this is the Fair to Light palette. So here are swatches of Fair to Light, which is the lightest shade. Next is the light to medium palette. Here are swatches of light to medium, which is the second lightest shade, the one I'll be using today. This is the medium to tan, and yes, I did dig my nails in there, so that was my bad. Here are swatches of medium to tan, and then the darkest colorway, which is tan to deep. And here are swatches of tan to deep, which is the deepest colorway. In terms of the shade range, I do feel that the Fair Light and the Light Medium are quite similar. Light Medium has more yellow to it, whereas Fair Light has more pink, but they're not like super different in terms of the depth. And I'm not sure if the deepest shade goes deep enough. Now, she said in her IGTV to keep in mind that this is for brightening, but I personally can't say whether this is deep enough even to brighten to be inclusive. So I'm not sure. It looks a little light to me, but again, it's for brightening, so somebody would have to let me know down in the comments if this would work for, you know, the deepest of deep skin tones. But to me, maybe there could have been like one more palette that's deeper, but again, I can't speak on that because I don't really know what would work. So as I said, I'm gonna go into the light medium palette for me personally, and I'm gonna go into this shade, which is Light Banana. The way that Jaclyn used this is she actually just used a sponge and she really dug in there. She said you might have to really kind of dig in there to get the top layer kind of broken so you can get to the creaminess of the powder. So if I have to do that, I will do that. But I'm just gonna basically go in there, rub in quite a bit of product just as she did, and really stamp this under the eye to set the eye. This is supposed to blur, so we're gonna see how that goes. First, I'm gonna get any creasing out. I'm gonna go ahead and dip in generously, which is what she showed on her video, and she's supposed to brighten and oh, okay, that's a bright shade. It's supposed to blur too, so I'm gonna pull it down here. Somehow it looked different on Jaclyn, but I'm gonna really press this in. That may have been a little bit too bright for me right now, but I feel that we'll make it work. So I'm gonna blend the edges. I'm gonna jump into caramel or caramel, which is a little bit deeper right here, and try this. Okay, that may have been a better shade for me. I'm gonna try it on my chin area. Also going back into that caramel, so I think caramel will work best for me. Maybe the banana right under my eyes, like just right under my eyes, but pulling it down lightened my foundation quite a bit. But I'm enjoying the caramel shade. So I'm just going to press this just in the T-zone here, and then we're gonna go into her pressed translucent. My first impression on those products is that less is more. In her video, she really dug in there, but I think that I could have used less and really just put that bright shade right under here. Again, we'll learn as we go. I do see that this is nice and brightening, which is something it claims. I also think it is quite smoothing. It's looking a little bit dry or powdery around my pores, but maybe once we're done with our makeup, that won't be an issue. You are gonna have to play around with what shades work for you, just because I thought this would work and it was a little too brightening for me. So just keep that in mind, but you do get a variation here. So I could have mixed these two or gone for maybe a more peachy shade. But overall, my first impression on this product is that it's nice. It does what it claims to do, nice and smoothing, and it's definitely giving me that brightened effect. To set the rest of the face, I'm gonna do exactly what she did in her video, and she used her Last Act translucent setting powder. There's only one shade of this. It looks quite light, so I am curious if this is really gonna be translucent. It almost looks like in some light that there's a little bit of a radiance to this, but we'll have to see. The way that she used it is a fluffy brush and just dusted it on the rest of her face, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I am just going to dust this on the perimeters of my face. It's supposed to be translucent. I do feel it's lightening a little bit. You guys will have to let me know. It's very lightweight. There's not any kick up in the pan. It picks up easily, but there's no kick up in the pan, so it's not messy, but I am seeing that it's lightening. So I'm not sure if you, especially if you're tanner than me, how that would work for you. I definitely used too much of that banana powder. So I set the rest of my face, and I have to say I like how lightweight this feels. It's very thin, it's not thick, it's not clinging, it's not lifting any foundation, but I do think the color of it, even though it says it's translucent, I do feel that it lightened my foundation a little bit, and I'm of course not super tan. So just keep that in mind. I feel like this might be a product that would work much better for lighter skin tones. I don't necessarily know if this is translucent, just because I am seeing in swatching it and also on the face a little bit of like a white cast that's lightening my foundation. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go off camera quickly and do the rest of my makeup so that we can get into the loose powders and use them the way that Jaclyn does. I went ahead and finished my makeup off camera. I will link all the products down below, but we're gonna go into the last powder, and this is called the Bake and Brighten Under Eye Powder. So this is called an under eye powder, which I'm assuming you could use it on the under eyes, which I do want to do moving forward. But in her video, she actually used this loose powder to clean up her contour and to clean up the contour on her nose. So that's how I'm going to do it today. There are 5 different shades in this Bake and Brighten loose powder. I will throw up swatches on the screen so you can compare the colors yourself. We have a Brightening Lilac, Brightening Pink, Brightening Light Banana, Brightening Banana, and Brightening Apricot. I also want to say that I like the packaging in the sense that there's no net, no weird component in the center, so it's going to be really easy to get product out. I'm just going to tap it a couple times upside down, and that should be able to get me some product to use. So the way she used it is a sponge, same sponge. So I'm going to load up the powder on here, and I believe she said this powder has coverage, so I'm interested to see how it works. So I am going to do exactly what she did, which was the sides of her nose. I feel like this is a good shade for me. And then along with her nose, she did use it to clean up her contour, so I'm going to do that as well. So I'm just pulling it down. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take a kabuki brush and start working this in. I feel like that shade may be a little bit too light for me under here, but again, we're just sort of playing around and getting a feel for the products. I'm using a smaller brush here. I like it for around the nose. I really am curious to try the loose baking powder to set the under eye. So that will definitely be something I do next. All right, guys, here's my finished makeup look using all of the new Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics products. So I want to go over each product, starting off with the Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I feel like this is a nice hydrating primer for your under eye, exactly what it's claiming to do. I feel like it's one of those things I'm going to have to use for a longer period of time with different concealers to really see if it's making a difference. Of course, you could use an eye cream, you could use a moisturizer, whatever you have on hand. I do have to say that this feels nice. It didn't sting. It doesn't have a high fragrance or any fragrance that I could smell. And the metal tip was nice and cooling. If you have puffy eyes in the morning, you could definitely use this to really just kind of calm them down and soothe your under eye area. My first impression is I like this. I don't know if it's like blowing my mind and giving me a huge difference in terms of how my concealer looks, but I'll continue using it, and I enjoyed using it the first time. Probably my favorite product from the entire line is gotta be these brightening and setting palettes. So I have the shade Light Medium. I thought this was a really nice formula. Very smoothing, definitely set things down. Very pigmented though, and a little goes a long way. Maybe in the future I would use a brush to really kind of just set the under eye. I like how brightening this is specifically for the under eye. I don't know if I would pull it down like I did initially, but again, I'll keep toying around with these, and it's kind of your personal preference. Do you like a loose powder? Do you like a set powder, a pressed powder, a translucent? For me, I like the brightening factor of this and the smoothing factor of this. It can get a little heavy. I feel maybe a little bit around my pores. Could be my problem because I did pull it down quite heavy. So again, just adjusting my technique might change things. This is a standout product for me that I would probably use the most out of everything here. I just like the way it made my skin look, and I do feel the claims are right with the smoothing and the brightening aspect of it. So this would probably be my pick out of everything. In terms of my least favorite product, it's gotta be the translucent powder. I just feel like no matter what, this has a white cast to it. And for me, I just don't prefer that. It just can make you look a little bit dry in my opinion. This is sort of something that I see a lot with translucent powders. They're not really translucent. So for me, this is my least favorite. I will say that I like the texture of it because it's very thin. It's not heavy, has that slip to it. It didn't lift my foundation or anything like that. So the claims are true in that aspect of it, but I just don't know if this is actually translucent. Just looking in the mirror and when I was applying it, I did feel like it lightened my foundation a little bit and gave me a little bit of that white cast, which is not my favorite. And lastly, the Bake and Brighten powders. These are the loose powders that come in 5 different shades. I have to say I really enjoyed this as well, although I do believe that instead of light banana, I would probably grab for banana next. It's a little bit interesting because the light banana worked really well around my nose, but I feel like it was a little light for under my contour. So if I were to do the baking under my contour, I'd probably go for the brightening banana. Not sure if these go deep enough. I will say that if I'm going to brightening banana, which is the 4th deepest shade, I just don't know if the deepest shade apricot will be deep enough for people. Again, I don't know. I can talk about just my personal, like a preference, what works on my skin, but I just don't know if I'm on the 4th deepest for, you know, baking my face. I'm not sure if one more shade is going to be deep enough for everybody to enjoy. So that's one of my concerns. But other than that, I like the sifter in it. I like that there's no net, there's no weird component. It's very easy to get powder out. I did find this to be brightening and smoothing. It gave me some coverage and really brightened up the area. I just don't know if the shades go deep enough for everyone. So I feel the claims are true on this one as well. So overall, I really like the collection. I didn't notice any fragrance, which I like. Nothing that I'm inhaling. In the past, I've tried loose powders that were so heavily fragranced that it really bothered me when I was using them. I didn't notice that with the loose powders here. So I like that. I like the packaging. I think it's nice and simple. I feel like they perform just as they're advertised to really brighten. You just have to make sure that you're getting a shade that's not too light for you. So definitely kind of look for more swatches. I try to do the best I could, but it's a little bit difficult. Even myself in person, I feel like I could have gone darker with a couple of the shades. So I will leave all the information down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out if you were going to pick up these products. Are you picking these up? Are you interested in them? I know some people love to bake still and some people don't use powder at all, so it's definitely your personal preference, but that was my thoughts for my first impression. I'll leave all the information down below. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.